Hi, my name is Isabella Biscassi, and I am presenting on Chapter 2.5, which is about architecture. Form, structure, function are called stresses. When stresses pull, they create tension, which lengthens and stretches the materials in the building. Form, texture, and composition are all important factors to each piece of architecture. Form is an object that can be defined in 3 dimensions: height, width, and depth. Texture is the surface quality of a work. For example, it is either fine or coarse, or either detailed or lacking in detail. Composition is the overall design or organization of a work. Flexibility, strength, texture, and appearance affects the architect's choices. Many generations of people have admired the composition of the forms of many skyscrapers. Ancient construction consists of basic loading-bearing construction, post-lintel construction, domes, vaults, and post and beam architecture. Basic load-bearing is the most direct way to build something. An example of this is the picture on the top. This picture is of Temple I in the Great Plaza. They built something like this by piling on one brick onto another. Temple I is a Maya pyramid, which is defined as a support for the temple, creating a platform. Post-lintel consists of columns, capital, shaft, and base. Pictured on the bottom is of Temple Athena Nike. Post and lintel construction is a horizontal beam, the lintel, supported by a post at either end. A lintel rests on top of 2 posts. The capital, or uppermost part of the column, supplies the transition point from the lintel to the shaft, or main vertical attribute of the post. During ancient construction, domes, vaults, and post and beam architecture were used quite frequently while building. Domes are evenly curved vaults forming the ceiling or roof of a building. An example of a dome, along with access and clerestory windows, is the picture towards the bottom right. This picture is of Hagia Sophia in Turkey. An axis is an imaginary line showing the center of a shape, volume, or composition. The clerestory windows is a row of windows that are high up in a church to admit light into the space. A pendentive is a curving triangular surface that links a dome to a square space below. You can see all of these in the image. A vault is an arc-like structure supporting a ceiling or roof. Vaults are also extended like a long hallway to create an open space overhead. They are created when the outward pushing forces of the building weight is stopped by a heavy support. Vaults were very important in the European Middle Ages. Post and beam architecture is the picture to the top left. These are complex buildings to keep the building structurally sound. Cast iron architecture, steel form construction, and reinforced concrete are all methods of materials of the modern world. Steel frame construction is mostly used to build skyscrapers and to create a cornice. An example is the skyscraper that is pictured. This skyscraper is called Burj Khalifa. A cornice is a horizontally projected molding around the top of a building, mostly with skyscrapers. Steel frame construction was mainly used in modernism. Modernism is a radically new 20th century art and architectural movement that embraced modern industrial materials. Pictured to the top left is a building in Germany. The building that is pictured to the top left represents the steel frame construction by the top squares, rectangles that are placed out past the windows. And the skyscraper to the right, you can see all of the steel that is being used to create the large, high skyscraper. Cast iron architecture has been available since the ancient times. Many people have used cast iron because it is more flexible than stone. It can be casted in a mold to almost any shape or size. This is why the Crystal Palace pictured in the background is using cast iron to create the mold over the window and also the dome. And you can also see cast iron being used to what looks to be a flagpole to the right. The Crystal Palace inspired other architects to work with iron. Designed for the Great Exhibition in London, was intended to promote trade and to showcase Great Britain's goods and services. By using reinforced concrete, it allows you to avoid the hard right-angled edges of the building made from blocks or bricks. Reinforced through the use of either fiberglass or steel rods, it is made stronger. This structure is a testament to the expressive character of reinforced concrete. The inclusion of fibrous or metal reinforcing helps the concrete resist cracking. Builders use forms, which are wooden molds, to keep the concrete where it needs to be. Pictured is the Sydney Opera House, and you can see the right-angled edges of the building made from concrete. When designing this, he strayed away from the basic walls, instead did rectangular designs. Postmodernism is a late 20th century style of architecture and art that playfully adopts features of earlier styles. Postmodernism combined the hard, pure rectangles of modernism with unusual materials and features of styles from the past. Architects wanted to reflect a complex and changing world. The Humana building, which is pictured, is a mix of different styles. While looking at this, you can see the negative space to the left because of the large windows and openings. Some of the new ways to reflect a complex and changing world is portico and pediment. Portico is a roof supported by columns at the entrance to a building. A pediment is the triangular space. Architecture today faces both challenges and opportunities. The Glide House, which is pictured, was developed because the architect was looking for an inexpensive alternative to the expensive California homes. She finished it with double-pane windows, roof solar cells, and other materials that were recyclable. All of these were a great way to preserve materials. Today, architecture could face concerns such as limited resources, energy, conservation, and sustainability. The architect's ideas have influenced new trends such as tiny houses. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope everyone learned something.